Hello, I'm Dr. Paul, and this is my beautiful wife, Lynn. And today we are going to go over some of the testimonials we have gotten back from people who have used our plasma energy and have sent us their replies.
And sometimes we get some questions with these too, so we'll just go through here and see what we've got. I have a couple of questions. If I infuse a pair of gloves and need to wash them when they get dirty, will the plasma energy water wash out?
No.
No. All right, well, does it have an expiration date?
No expiration date. It'll last longer than we will.
Okay, we have a sad-looking little glove around here that he and I take turns wearing whenever somebody wants to just grab one glove for a sore hand. I think it's 3 years old. It used to be white, but it's sort of gray, and it still works fine. The energy is going to be there a lot longer than the glove is going to be there.
Right.
Okay. My lovely cat is allergic to fleas. What might I be able to do for her?
Well, there's several things. You can spray her with the plasma water, and also use the parasite preparation and have her drink that water, and the parasites will leave. The fleas will not like that plasma energy and will leave.
Okay, and if she doesn't appreciate being sprayed like most cats don't, then I guess you could put some water on your hands and rub it on her fur, or put
Right.
it on a washcloth and rub her fur down.
Right.
Okay, and then would you spray the bedding wherever she likes to sleep?
Yes. Spray where she sleeps, and if she has a favorite chair, spray that, and it's not going to stain the chair or hurt anything.
And I guess if she sleeps with you, you're not going to get fleas either if you spray the bedding. So, okay. Let's see here. Somebody ordered the printer. I ended up sending printer paper to this individual because he wanted to know how he could share the treated printer paper with others. And so what I said is, you might just, when you're going to send something out of the country, if you want to do it just even on printer paper, you can treat the printer paper and fold it and send it to them. And then you can give them the instructions on how to make several sets of patches. And usually the patches I do are about this size. So if you were talking about printer paper, you would just figure out how many sets you could get out of one sheet. And so what I told him is, cut your sheet of paper in half, fold each of those halves in half. Cut one of the folded halves in half along the fold line. Put one cut piece inside half of the paper that you didn't cut again. Now you have 3/4 of the original 4/4. Keep the other piece by itself, so now you have 1/4 and 3/4. That's the ratio that you want. Now you can put each of those inside a baggie and tape it, fold the baggie up and tape it securely. I use transparent plastic packing tape, and that'll just keep it, it'll make a pretty strong surrounding for your plasma paper. Okay, so somebody asks why you would use castor oil in eye drops, because maybe we should differentiate that you have also used olive oil in the eye drop formula. So you want to...
The oil is just a carrier for the plasma energy, and the reason some people like to use castor oil is because castor oil all by itself is beneficial for the eyes. This has been known for years in other parts of the world, not in the United States, but it's been used in other parts of the world for a long time, just for vision problems. And so that's why people use it in the plasma energy instead of olive oil. And the type of oil that you use in there doesn't really matter as long as it's a oil that doesn't burn your eyes. And so you just have to test those and check and see which works for you. Some people get a sting out of some oils and other people don't. So try and see what works for you.
Well, the main thing we ran into with any of the oils that kind of did a sting was certain organic olive oils have a pepper note in them. And since that's what you started using, but it wasn't with a pepper note, we didn't realize that some people were going to encounter that problem.
Right.
Until they started saying, boy, those that really burns, and we're going, ours doesn't burn. So then we figured out what was going on. Okay, so here's a letter. Thank you so much. Everything arrived and I'm more than happy with it. Since starting drinking the water, I feel so much better and I have so much more energy. I hope I can ask you a few questions. I read about washing your clothes with the water, but what if I just place 2 energy pads on my wardrobe, one high and on the high end and one on the floor? Wouldn't that put plasma energy all around the clothes? And how about the same with my house? If I hang the pads on walls opposite of each other, then wouldn't I have the plasma energy fields through the house?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, and one of the things I mentioned to her is you can put the plasma energy directly on the clothes. Now, when you do the house, do you try to get a gradient by putting maybe something up at your highest point?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can do that. I mean, you just have to use your imagination and know that you want to get a flow of the plasmatic energy. In order to do that, you need to have a stronger energy on one side and a weaker energy on the other side, because they work to balance each other. And when you get that gradient difference, the energy will flow much better. So just use your imagination a little bit and use common sense and put them in the areas of your house where you'll have where you want the influence, and let it do its work.
Okay, and with that note, we have also suggested to people that they place plasma energy around the perimeter of their property, and in doing that, you don't have to get really extravagant with it. You can just put it in little jars and bury them a few inches deep. It's not going to matter if they freeze.
No,
Okay.
it won't matter.
All right. And speaking of freezing, I hate to even say the word out loud because we're having a nice summer right now. But we did test the CO2 water on our front porch, which is an enclosed porch but not heated. And all winter long, even when it got 22 below, that CO2 water never ever froze. And the reason I mention that is it had been explained that if we put that on our clothing like mittens and hats and scarves and socks, it would help against frostbite. Do you have anything that you might add to that, or?
No, I haven't really gotten that cold to where I've been threatened with frostbite, so I haven't really given it a test.
Okay.
But I know it doesn't freeze. The CO2 water doesn't. The other waters do freeze.
Yes, they do.
But the CO2 water does not freeze.
Okay. And then I made a suggestion to somebody who was going to introduce their plasma water at a local fair or market, like like a grower's market or something like that. And so I suggested, well, if you want to hand out some samples of it, why don't you put it on popsicle sticks? And so here's what she had to say. I had a good response from the popsicle sticks soaked in the plasma energy water. When we had our third annual Flower of Life festival, I gave a popsicle stick to a man with a painful toothache that didn't allow him to sleep, and I gave one to another man who had a painful back. And they both reported the next day that it had helped eliminate the pain. After watching a YouTube video about the 2017 Hurricane Maria in Dominica and the protective effects of the plasma energy, she continues to write, I soaked a whole bunch of popsicle sticks and stuck them in the ground about every 30 to 35 feet around our home. My intention that I wrote on each stick was loving protection. Thank you so much for your dedication and hard work. The world needs more people like you and your husband. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, that was very nice, yes.
And this one comes, Lynn, Lou and I love the energy station and the plasma water we've been drinking. We have more energy, and my doctor says my vitamin levels are perfect and I have no need to take thyroid medication any longer. Is the C60 in the plasma water sufficient to replace C60 suspended in olive oil that we have supplemented with for the past year?
I don't know.
Okay. But
That's a question that needs some scientific experimentation, which we have not done. I would not be afraid to use it myself, but I wouldn't outright recommend it for anybody else who's used to using the C60. Just because we don't have definitive answers.
okay, and having said all that, the C60 energy that we have, that we use, is plasma energy.
Right,
Right, because we have it in several of our products.
right.
So, all right, and, okay, this is another letter. Last October, I started with Russian plasma as an experiment. I had no idea what it meant or what it was. I just tried. Either the emperor would have clothes or not. I would see. By December, I could get up from kneeling without thinking old age at 67. What do you expect? My knees were not creaking. My skin became more rosy, but what it meant is every 5 weeks I had to spend $70 to get more drops. So I decided to look deeper into the plasma, and I found your website. I was thrilled to hear that once you buy the plasma, it's endlessly reproducing itself, and I bought one of the combination packages thinking it would help family and friends too, as it addressed so many different issues. I was very skeptical, as Lynn said she would send me plasma on paper towels instead of in vials. Another risk I was taking. And the reason for that, the time of year was our 22 below time of year, and it was just, so that's what I suggested
Was
to her.
she in Europe?
No, she was actually in the northeastern United States, and it was in that transition time before we finally figured out that in the wintertime we send BPA-free plastic vials. We went to these because so many people just really had a cow, and I said I was going to send them the paper pads that we send out of the country all over the world that people respond and say these are great. And so we just don't send out the glass vials because, as we spoke earlier, things other than CO2, plasma energy, will freeze, and these little vials will sometimes break. So anyway, then she says, with the arrival of the paper towels, I took my pendulum out, which I've been using. for all kinds of things, mainly on herbs and natural supplements, and I've used this for over 30 years. I tend to look for patterns and quantity. The pattern on the Russian plasma water was the same as the pattern showed me in the paper towels, and it radiated out 30 feet. I was relieved and started to drink the basic plasma energy water now, and I also heated it in coffee, soup, tea. I got a big tub. I sprayed it on my plants. I sprayed it on cloth, and I wondered if it would stay in even if I washed the cloths or cooked. I continued to check because it was hard to believe. Friends started to use it for pain and in the patch form. One friend broke her arm and it greatly reduced her pain. More time went by, and by January I thought, wait a minute, maybe this plasma is a real thing and it's an essential food. But I would only know if I tried. I never stopped my coffee or tea, and I made myself one miso soup every day. I did not feel cold even though it was the middle of winter. I was not fasting, I was clear about that. I lost a little weight, even got myself the first time in my life on a scale. Now that was an adventure. I was not creating a new religion, I was just curious. So that was just really a neat response from somebody who was real skeptical about not having the drop form of the plasma energy that was replaced every month.
Yeah, and she was paying $75 or whatever a month for that vial of drops and having to replace it every month, whereas she bought the plasma energy one time, and it's going to last longer than she will, and probably longer than her grandchildren will.
And what we do when we send the plasma energy station out in the warm weather, it's 16 vials and it goes out. This was all packaged and ready to be put in the mailer, but it's got foam and it's got bubble wrap around it, and it's basically the 16 different vials we have on the plasma energy station. In the U.S. in the winter, we switch to these and we send 4 vials. These are BPA-free plastic, and so you have vials, what would normally be vials 1 through 4 go in vial 1. Vials 5 through 8 go in vial 2, and so forth through the 4 vials. And then you just simply, instead of 16 vials on a large container, you're going to put the 4 vials on the large container. I actually have an extra plasma energy station, and I just took the plasma energy water from our big station and put it right on the outside of that other container instead of doing the whole 16 around it. And that's worked great. So that's the way we send it. You can find out a lot more about plasma energy solution at our website, plasmaenergysolution.com. If you'll go to the product, to the shop heading on the main page, and then select products, you'll see that we're putting videos up about all the products, so just to give you a little more information. And I don't know, Paul, should we give people a surprise today?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Okay, well, see, they're going to have to watch to the very end of the video. So first I'm going to tell them the website is www.plasmaenergysolution.com. And do you have something to add? I will add it at the very end, whatever I'm going to surprise people with.
Oh, okay. That's about it for today. We just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And if you feel you've gotten any value from it, give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends and relatives.
Okay, and the surprise is if you use the word plasma as a coupon when you're making a purchase, it will give you 15% off whatever you purchase. And that's all you have to do. When you make a purchase and it says coupon, write the word plasma. And you've just saved yourself 15%. Thank you so much.
Thank you.